What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. You don't like it, you can have that seatbelt. Okay, so now that it is confirmed that the Nintendo Switch will be powered by an NVIDIA Tegra processor, it's time to discuss just what this processor could, should, and could be potentially capable of. Seeing a lot of people online that seem to be really confused about the capabilities of these Tegra chips. A lot of people think that the system will be roughly on par with the Wii U or less powerful, which is absolutely incorrect. Now, in this video, I'm going to try to explain what it should be capable of and how we will be able to compare it to what is currently on the market. Now, I'm going to try to make this video as short as I can, but it is going to be a long one. Like, I've even actually for the first time made some freaking bullet points on a piece of paper because I don't want to ramble on and make this into a freaking 35-minute video. I don't want that. But it is going to be rather long compared to my other videos. So first things first, it's going to use an NVIDIA Tegra mobile processor. Now, before that scares you guys off, note that the CPU in both the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One both use mobile CPUs, CPUs designed for laptops and tablets. So don't let that scare you away. Now, even the first rumor or leak, we should say now, of NVIDIA powering the Nintendo Switch said that it was a Pascal-based architecture for the Tegra. So that right there shows us that the Maxwell-based Tegra X1 that was currently in the development kits, or at least in the development kits a few months ago, is not showing us what to really expect out of the system. NVIDIA has already come out and said that it is a custom chip and that they made a new API specifically for this system to get the most performance out of it possible. Okay, so since it's going to be Pascal based, it's more than likely going to use a 16 nanometer process. It's going to be fully custom. Okay, the number of cores is currently unknown, but it looks like it's going to be anywhere between 4 and 8. If I had to guess, I think it's probably going to be in between 6 and 8 cores, probably 6. The Tegra X1 that was in the development kits, that uses 8 cores. Okay, the newer chip that we call the Tegra X2, which is actually the real name is the Parker chip, that uses 6 cores, but it's more powerful because 2 of the main cores are more powerful than any of the cores in the Tegra X1. Okay, so since this is a fully custom Tegra, we don't know how many cores it's going to use, but like I said, it's probably going to be anywhere from 6 to 8. I'm guessing 6. Now, the RAM amount is also unknown, but it's looking like it will be anywhere from 4 to 8 gigs. Again, I think 6 is probably likely. All of the devices currently that use a Tegra X1, I think they have 3 gigs. So for example, the NVIDIA Shield only uses 3 gigs. So should have more memory than any of those devices. Okay. Now, NVIDIA has a proprietary ARM core called the Denver 2.0, which they claim is the highest performing ARM core on the market. Now, the Parker chip uses 2 of these. Now, I think that it's a big chance that the Nintendo Switch will use a number of Denver cores. It's probably not going to be 4 of them or 8 of them, but that would be awesome. But that's probably not going to happen. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be similar to the Parker chip, where there is 2 Denver cores and 4 A57s. Be cool if it was all Denver cores, or if it was some even newer core, custom core that outperformed both of those, but we'll see what we get. These new NVIDIA chips, whether mobile or desktop, all now have a FP16, which is 16-bit floating point, or half precision or mixed precision mode. Now, what these are ideal for, 16-bit floating point is ideal for deep learning, so things like the self-learning or whatever cars. It's good for AI, and what's important, it's also good for low memory bandwidth systems such as the Wii U, things like that. Now, in the past generations, when specs were listed, they usually list double precision numbers, 64-bit precision numbers, right? That's usually what they did during the GameCube, Xbox, and the PlayStation 2 era. Then last generation, they started listing double precision and single precision numbers. Single precision being 32-bit, right? Because they found that they didn't necessarily need to use double precision on most things, and 32-bit precision was just fine. Now, in 2016, they're finding that for some things, they don't even need to use 32-bit precision. This is why 16-bit precision modes are being integrated in all of NVIDIA's newer chips, because there's actually times where things could work faster and use less memory using FP16. Now, for example, the most games on mobile take advantage of FP16. For example, the Unreal Engine 4 on mobile uses FP16 almost exclusively. This is why, or one of the reasons why, Unreal Engine 4 and Epic has announced support for the Nintendo Switch. Okay? Because that they pretty much designed Unreal Engine 4 to work perfectly with mobile processors. Add to the fact that NVIDIA helped develop some of Unreal Engine 4 and possibly 3, and is going to make damn sure that any device that they make is fully capable of playing the engine. Now, it's noted that the Wii U, even out of Mark Rain's mouth, he says that the Wii U is technically capable of doing Unreal Engine 4, right? But notice we never got any official Unreal Engine support for the Wii U. Why? Because while it's possible, it's kind of hard to do. The fact that they are announcing support and announcing that they're helping to bring these games to the system shows you right there that it's probably rather easy to port Unreal Engine 4 games to the Nintendo Switch. I was about to call it the NX. All right. So going back to what I was talking about. Now, regarding memory bandwidth, what I was saying with that. The Wii U's memory bandwidth, barring the eDRAM, I'm going to bar the eDRAM and the SRAM on both of these, on this comparison for the Wii U and the Xbox One, because honestly, probably a lot of developers didn't even use either one or aren't using either one. So directly comparing the memory bandwidth without eDRAM or without any embedded memory, Wii U's memory bandwidth is 12.8 gigabytes per second. Okay, Xbox One is 25 gigs per second. Now, the Tegra X1 is 25 gigabytes per second. Now, if we look at that there, the Wii U's total RAM is 2 gigs. 2 gigs, 12.8 gigs a second. The Tegra X1, 25 gigs a second, 3 gigs of RAM. So it's not even double the amount of RAM, but it's double the memory bandwidth. So that shows you right there, it's a lot more efficient than the Wii U. Now, then we have the X2, aka Parker chip, that allows for 50 gigs of RAM per second. Now, that is also, I believe, with the same amount of RAM as the X1. Then we have the Xbox One, which does 60 gigs a second. And then we have the PlayStation 4, which does 176 gigs a second. Now, the big difference between that is the type of RAM that the Xbox One uses towards, or in the difference is in between the types of RAM that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One uses. The PlayStation 4 uses a more efficient type of RAM than the Xbox One, and it shows there. Now, when we go into memory bus, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 both have a very wide 256-bit memory bus. Okay, the Tegra X1 and the Wii U have a 64-bit memory bus, and Parker has a 128-bit memory bus, so it's right there in the middle. Now, we've seen that the difference between the Tegra X1 and Parker is double the amount of gigabytes per second. And the reason for that is because the memory bus is wider. So if the Nintendo Switch uses a wider memory bus, that's going to dramatically impact the performance of the system alone. Okay. Now, the Tegra X1 that is currently, or was currently, in the Nintendo Switch dev kit does 500 gigaflops per second under 32-bit floating point single precision mode. Half precision mode, it does 1 teraflop. Parker does 750 gigaflops in single precision and 1.5 teraflops in half precision. Now, a custom Tegra could do probably and most likely even more than Parker. See, we've been doing all these estimates, assuming that the whatever's in the Nintendo Switch will be identical to either the Tegra X1 or either the Tegra X2, but in reality, it's probably not going to be either one of those, and could possibly outperform both because it was designed specifically for Nintendo and specifically for a game console. Okay. Now, one of the main differences between these Tegras being in a game console versus a setup box or a laptop or a cell phone, even though none of these are in the cell phones, this system will not be tied to an Android operating system. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that whatever operating system the NX is going to have some kind of overhead, but not nearly as much as Android. Okay. Now, also what to note is the fact that all of these Nintendo systems, including the PlayStation 4, and I believe even the Xbox One, have had co-processors, ARM co-processors for audio for their operating system. So that right there is going to take the load off a lot of the processing that the SoC would have originally had to do. Okay. Also, what's good to note, I should say, is that according to what I've seen online, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if these people are NVIDIA fanboys or whatever, but apparently, NVIDIA's flops are up to 30% more precise than AMD's. Okay, so that means if you have 700 gigaflops of NVIDIA flops, that's supposed to be equivalent to 1 teraflop of AMD's. Okay, so take from that what you may. Okay, what I'm saying here is that this system will probably punch a lot higher above its weight than people are giving it credit for. But I will say this, I've seen a lot of people online and saying, oh, if it uses a Tegra X2 or Parker, that puts it in line with the PlayStation 4 horsepower wise. No, not necessarily. No, it doesn't. At least in terms of raw performance, it absolutely does not. Now, as far as CPU performance, the Nintendo Switch should perform a lot better than either of the CPUs, even in the PlayStation 4 Pro. That's pretty much a given. But as far as GPU raw power, it's not going to be there. But it will be a newer GPU. It will be more efficient. Apparently, it will be a lot more efficient. And honestly, we will see, the games will tell us how big of a difference we will actually see between the raw specs and what the system is really capable of.